Hey everybody, it's Christina. If you are here, let me know if you can see and hear me okay. We are broadcasting this live. We are on the very last day of the 12 days of Christmas. I cannot believe that it's over this quickly. You know, 2 weeks sounds like a lot of time, but honestly, when you're having fun, it just flies by, right? Okay, looks like people are finding me here. We have 4 people here. If you're here, let me know. Say hey in the comments. How have you guys been enjoying the 12 days of Christmas so far? I mean, I know I say this every year, but I really mean it this year. This was our best year that we've ever done. And we really needed it. How many of you guys really needed this extra boost? Hey Tina, good to see you. Happy Friday. Hey Jordan, good to see you, Jordan. Good to see you. Hi Andy. There's Andy. Andy's all about the angels. So we're going to attract the angel crowd today. Hey Sarah, GE, first time on here. Well, welcome. GE, you have an amazing wealth of information in the unit section available. There have been 13 different workshops that we've held over the last 2 weeks, and you guys, we're going to have replays all the way up until December 31st. So if you have not been able to watch all of the workshops that have gone on, or if you want to go back and watch some of the ones that you've already watched, guess what? You guys have a whole 2 weeks, and everybody should hopefully have some type of seasonal holiday break coming up. So hopefully you're going to have some time for yourself so that you can go back and watch any of these workshops that you may have missed. Marissa, hey Christina, good to see you. All right, so let's get into this today. Oh, Grace, okay. Well, you never know. Hi, Aline. Oh, it's your first time catching me live. Well, I'm glad that you are here today because this is going to be a really fun training. I don't know if we're going to go the full hour, you guys, today, but we're going to talk about some really cool stuff. Hi, Kirsten. So let me ask you guys, how many of you actually work with angels or even working with like spirit guides or other high vibrational beings? And when I say high vibrational beings, what do you guys think of? Like, what kinds of imagery does that kind of bring up for you? So, hi Katie. When I think of high vibrational beings, I think of like angels, spirit guides, guardian angels. I think of basically like any kind of helping spirit, right? Any kind of spirit that has a high vibration, like one that's really positive and uplifting and joyous, right? Vila, hi, good to see you. Vila, I'm going to give Vila a shout out really quickly. My psychic hotline people, Vila has a really cool psychic hotline oracle card deck out. It's for love and relationships, right? So if you got her psychic oracle and then you got my the lovers Lenormand that I have, like I'll link to my shop, but like dude, if you put those together, like that's some serious like awesome magic right there. Hi Kai, good to see you. Kristen says high vibrational beings like helping spirits seem to be like a light frequency. Absolutely. You know, I also, depending on your idea about some of these things, but I also kind of see like fairies are kind of like helping spirits. They can be anyways. Even ancestors, right, could be helping spirits. Or even extended masters, right? Oh, Vila says, I've been wanting to put them together. Great minds. Vila, is your name Christina too? Are you also a Christina? Christinas are pretty awesome, aren't we? Grace says, I only ask for ancestors, spirit guides, angels, and those of the highest vibration. Exactly. But I also think of like nature spirits, right? I think of animal spirits, and even like different traditions or different faiths are going to have different ideas. Like devas are also could be considered high vibrational beings. What about aliens, extraterrestrials, right? Like, have you ever heard of the Council of Light? Like, there's this idea out there that there's this council of beings from other planets and worlds and maybe even other dimensions that are kind of overseeing the extension process and kind of guiding us and maybe even influencing like our technology. Because you guys, I mean, thinking about the last couple hundred years and all of the discoveries and inventions we made up to that point, and then thinking about like the last 100 years, like we have just exponentially increased our knowledge and capacity for mathematics and the arts and the sciences, and it's just incredible how far we've come. Some people think that maybe even aliens are influencing us by giving us technology because they're like, hey, we don't like how things are going. They're going okay, but it could go a little bit better. So let's give them the technology to do that, right? Oh, okay. Grace says, but I don't think Earth humans are allowed in. Right. Now, I'm on the fence with the whole alien thing. I do believe that there is very, very, very likely life on other planets. Have they visited Earth? I don't know. There's some really compelling. My husband is the alien junkie. He's the guy that knows all about the aliens and the conspiracy theories and stuff like that. Well, that's like his thing. So anytime I'm like, have you ever heard of this? And he's like, oh yeah. And he's like a library of information about extraterrestrial beings. And I don't know. Some of it is like really like, wow, it could be. But then I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of how I think about it. Or, the ancient astronaut theory, right? Where like, it's like us from the future have come back to create humans as we are today. There's a lot of interesting, cool things out there about that. Kristen says, I think the technology piece is military here on this planet. Possibly, I mean, the military, we've always funded the military to be the most technologically advantageous, right? Because that's where we really truly benefited the most. If you had a good army, then you had peace. And then if you have peace, then you can get into the arts. And if you don't have peace, there's no arts, right? Vila Christina says, I use high vibrational guides and I do visualize them sometimes as angels or fairies or like shaman-like guides, but I also think that's just my human way of visualizing energetic beings. Yeah, we do tend to project a humanness onto those qualities of high vibrational beings, don't we? But at the same time, like, yes, that's totally true. But at the same time, you have to think every universe has its own code, its own mathematics behind the generation of or creation of matter, right? And so we all fit into a similar formula. There's a reason why we are like a 10-digit, kind of species. There's that repeating two hands, two legs for most things, like arachnids and insects are a little bit different, but I think there is a formula that individual universes follow. And so I think we do kind of project a humanness. We anthropomorphize, not really anthropomorphize, but we kind of do that, to our guides and angels and stuff. And actually, super interesting, if you are really into angels, it's incredible how the Renaissance has so thoroughly changed our view on angels, right? Because it was really through the Renaissance art that we start seeing angels depicted with the fluffy wings and really nice and romanticized, right? But actually in the Bible they're quite horrendous sounding, and actually when angels came around and angels were in your area, it wasn't usually a good thing, right? It's usually like stuff's about to go down right? So angels in the Bible especially are kind of like these monstrosities, they have like, and they're tall as, they're as big as planets. And so we could never conceptualize how big they are. And they have like 1,000 eyes and, different, and they're even like more, they even like are described as more like mechanical based beings, rather than, like us, squishies. So, but it's really interesting. Angels were scary, weren't they? Hi, Erica. Good to see you. It's so cool that you're bringing up ETs. So yeah, definitely agree with the code, Kirsten says. And I'm going to share a spread today that what I want to do is challenge your ideas of what spreads are. And if you are not a tarot card reader or an oracle card reader, you may be like, what are spreads? So just a real quick rundown. When you're reading cards or you're reading any type of oracle, you can basically pull the oracles out and you can kind of read randomly and each have different connotations. Or you can use what are called spreads, which are basically like orderly positions that each position means something specific or is kind of like a prompt for a question, right? And so what it does is it helps us give like some structure to our readings, and that's really what spreads do. Now, spreads are more than that, right? Because actually, and it's more than just a tarot or oracle card spread. You can actually use it with any oracle that you want. You could use runes, you could use Lenormand, you could use I Ching. I mean, really, you could use anything that you really wanted to. And if you are a no-tool psychic, meaning that you are psychic or intuitive, but you don't use any tools, you can still use spreads. And when it's really funny, because when I bring this up with my students and my clients, they're like, I never really thought about it like that. Actually, that would make my no-tool psychic readings a lot easier, and they would provide structure. So if you are a no-tool psychic, then what you could do is you could just use the spread positions as prompts, as like kind of like journal prompts, or giving structure to your readings. And so if you don't want to pull out a tool and divine with the tool to get that meaning from that card, that spread position, then simply just go within and just close your eyes and, you know, ask for your psychic symbols to come to you, or utilizing your psychic abilities and intuitive gifts, however that you do that. You could do this with automatic writing. So it's really, people are, my psychics that are strictly no tool psychics, they're like, wow, I never really thought about that. And now they're going and downloading all the cool spreads, because what it does is just helps them structure a session. So spreads are for everybody, not just diviners. They're for no-tool psychics too. However, for today, since tarot is so, almost everybody is interested in tarot cards. So I am going to be using this, and I know people are going to ask me, and it fits this deck perfectly. I got this from eBay. It's a bag, but I know people are going to ask because it matches this deck so well. This is the Angel Tarot by Radley Valentine. Okay, so that's the deck that we're going to be using today. But before we get into the actual spread, I wanted to kind of talk about angels just very briefly, kind of like what my experience with working with angels is, why I work with angels, why people can work with angels who don't necessarily actually believe in angels. Okay. Vila says, that's brilliant. Thank you. Jessica says, that makes a lot of sense to sort income information. Boom. I mean, and then, you know, you can go off-roading at any time. Don't use the spreads, but if you want to get information quickly, use the spreads, because it'll just streamline the whole process for you. Okay, so let's see. The year is 2011. I just got laid off from my job, right? I was going through a tough time, y'all. I talk about this on my YouTube channel. I've talked about my story many times, but the basics is that I was working in salons. I was a beautician and also a salon manager. I managed 3 locations, and I also cut hair as well and did all the purchasing and all the setting up and everything like that. So very, very involved. That's a 6 days a week kind of job, sun up to sundown kind of job. And I wasn't doing very well. My health wasn't doing very well. I was just very, very sick and stressed out, and I didn't really feel like I was living my life purpose, right? Christina says, when I connect with what identify as angel energy, it just sounds like a little buzzing. Oh yeah, absolutely. So the angels will come up in a different way. So, but I'll talk about that too. And thank you for bringing that up, because that's a good topic of, you know, angels appearing differently to different people in different ways. So I was at my job, and I wasn't living my life purpose. I was very ill. At that point, my father-in-law had had a stroke, And me and my husband were his primary caregivers, and so I was balancing trying to do that and also manage his estate, as well as working a full-time job like that. When I had already been planning to quit, I had started up a business, a soaps and lotions kind of potions kind of business, and I was getting ready to quit. I just was trying to get since 2009, I was getting that ready, and I was trying to quit, right? Trying to build up my nerve to quit so I could focus on my own business at that point. And my boss sat me down the day before Thanksgiving 2011 and said, "Thank you for your services, but you're no longer needed." He was closing down all of the locations. He had gotten in some serious financial trouble with the investors. I guess he was not managing the money very well. And so that Christmas, didn't have a job, right? There was no Christmas that year. So the following year, I was cleaning out my husband's father. He had passed away, and I was cleaning out the garage and all the boxes and stuff like that. And I had found a box that I had actually taken with me when I moved to Missouri from Arizona, which was in 2007. And I was going through that box, and I found an old tarot deck, my old Mythic Tarot deck by Liz Dean, I believe. And I was like, wow, I can't believe I have this. And so then I was thinking, I started to remember those Miss Cleo commercials, right? I was like, I remember thinking about how the psychic lines were a thing, and how people were, there were people that were professional psychics that you could call in. I was like, I wonder if that's still a thing, right? And so what I did is I ran upstairs. I just typed in psychic hotlines on the internet, and to my surprise, there was not just one or two psychic hotlines, there was a bunch of psychic hotlines. So I literally just clicked the very first one that was at the top of the list, and that was Keen. And I finally found the apply now or give advice, and I put my application in, and like I was up and working like a week later. And so it was really interesting because my first day, I mean, within the first couple hours, I had made like 40 bucks. And I was like, oh my gosh, because I mean, you know, I could make 40 bucks easy an hour doing hair, doing color and stuff, you know, that's easy. Like you could, I mean, as a hairdresser, you can make some serious bank. Couple $100 in a couple hours very easily. But it's tedious work. It's very manually labor extensive, and you're gonna blow your shoulders and your hands out and your feet out. It's very hard work. It's a laborious type of work, and you're around toxic chemicals all the time and stuff like that. So I started working on the psychic hotlines, and that was kind of like my entry to tarot itself. Now, how I got started on the angels is, so I started researching about tarot cards, and you have to understand, I did not grow up in a religious household. I wasn't born, I was baptized Methodist, but that was for my grandmother. It really wasn't like for my family. We weren't religious. My mom didn't make us go to church or nothing. And in fact, my mom has always been a little bit witchy. So I kind of got introduced to things like working with pendulums and stuff like that very, very early on. I mean, I was about like maybe 6 or so when I found that pendulum in my mom's bathroom and started playing with it. And so I started studying tarot cards, because when I started the psychic hotlines, I actually didn't know how to read tarot cards. And I know some people are like, oh my gosh, but you know, honestly, I was in a situation where I needed to pay my bills, and my car was repossessed, and my husband had lost his job. Like, it was a really bad time. So I would have done anything at that point to make some money. And I did do a lot of different things at that point to make some money online. And so I started really liking tarot cards. Like, I started reading just intuitively, just reading by the pictures. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. And so then I started getting more serious about it, and then I started learning about like the Golden Dawn and the Hermetic Kabbalah version of tarot, and reading more about that and really getting into Hermeticism. And that was kind of like my gateway into working with angels. And at that time, there was a lady named Doreen Virtue who was very, very prominent. She was known as the Angel Lady. And I was in such a dark place, you guys, that, I mean, it was a dark night of the soul. I was in a very, very dark place. And when you're in a dark place like that, you start thinking outside of yourself. You start thinking about how can I find some light in my life, right? You start thinking about like, okay, you start leaning into your faith, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. And for the longest time in my life, I was actually embarrassed to do that because I had grown up so vehemently rejecting Christianity and rejecting any type of organized religion whatsoever, that I was too embarrassed and I was too prideful to even consider that it might be a possibility that I could potentially work with some of these types of energies without actually being part of that religion or something like that. And Doreen Virtue, people can say what they want about her, and I do have some strong opinions about her. Not a lot of them are good, but I do have to hand it to her because she really saved me in a very, very dark time in my life. When I finally got a hold of like her angel books and stuff like that, I was able to distract myself with how badly that my life was going. It was starting to get a little bit better because I was like making money, but when you're in such a dark place, having something as comforting spiritually like that, it just attracted me. It was like a light in the dark, and like a moth, I flew to it. And so I still think personally that she was definitely tapped in at the time she was writing about angels. I think she knew what she was talking about, and I think that she was fairly correct in that. But I think that who she is now is a different person, and she's in a different stage in her life. And I have been around enough elders to know personally that when people start trying to, they call get right with God, right? They start, they're like, they go into that born again Christian kind of thing where that extreme kind of energy. And usually that happens when something bad is happening in your life and it's a life or death situation. When my grandmother was a very open-minded spiritually all her life, was a professional medium, did tarot card parties and things like that. And then once she found out she was going to be passing away, or that she had a serious disease and that her life was limited, that's when she started doing the whole born again thing and rejecting everything. And then same with my father-in-law, when after he had his stroke, he used to be a very open-minded, intelligent person. And then once he had his stroke, it was immediately, okay, I got to reject everything because I got to make sure I'm getting into heaven, right? So yeah, it's a fear thing. Absolutely. I relate to this. Darkness brought me back to my formative spiritual truth. Absolutely, doesn't it? It was through the Doreen's pivot that I bridged my Christian childhood spirituality with my earth practice. That's incredible. So I'm glad that you got something out of that. I'm absolutely glad. Vila says, fear. Yeah, it's absolutely fear. And I learned long ago, you guys, that love the work, but you don't necessarily have to love the person, okay? You can love what they have done. You can love the accomplishments that they have made. You can still use their tools and things like that, but it doesn't mean that you have to love that person or that you still have to respect that person, okay? I learned a long time ago that eventually your heroes are going to disappoint you. So when Doreen Virtue did the whole turnabout thing, I was like, whatever, because I had been through that so many times before. When we put people on pedestals and we look at humans as infallible, that's our mistake, right? That's why we get so angry and we do all these, projective things and we try to disassociate. But really, it's a betrayal. There's a wound there, and people are hurt, and rightly so. People do deserve to be hurt, people don't deserve to be hurt, but they do deserve to have their hurt feelings validated. But at the same time, like, I'm still going to use her books. I'm still going to use her decks because I have positive experiences, interactions with them, and I'm tapping into the old, energy. And now even Bradley Valentine has taken up the mantle and has republished many of the decks. And actually, this is not supposed to be like a video on Doreen Virtue, but if you want the real tea about Doreen Virtue, she did not write any of her tarot cards. That was all Radley. All Doreen did was pick out the pretty pictures. That's all she did. Radley Valentine is actually the true genius behind all of the angel decks, all of the angel oracle cards and things like that. It's not Doreen Virtue. So if you want to still, use angel decks and angel cards, get with Radley Valentine. I mean, maybe one day he'll change his mind too, but you can choose. You get to choose. Separate the message from the messenger. Absolutely, because if we keep putting people on pedestals, we're just going to continue to be disappointed. Tina says, I use her decks. I believe in the energy she had at the time of making them. Absolutely, me too. Hi, Lynn. Truth is truth, no matter the messenger. Yes. Oh, the Goddess Oracles. Great. Yes. Oh, I saw his newest deck. He's got some really good ones. To Amy. Right? Absolutely, Jessica. He's going to cash in on that. No shame in that whatsoever. Okay. Finish my story here. So we're not here for 2 hours like normal. So then I started working with angel tarot cards, and I tell you, I got popular really quickly because people love positivity. Why? Because it feels good. And there's no shame in that. I think a lot of us are embarrassed or shameful to seek that positive, good energy. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Allow yourself to do that. Allow yourself to have that joy, right? If you walk away with nothing else from this video training today, allow yourself to have that joy. Allow yourself to get swept up in that. It's a lot of fun. It's not going to hurt anybody. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt anybody. I think we could get embarrassed. So you can talk to angels. There's a lot of different theories about what angels are. Some people, faith-based people, believe that angels are actual beings, that they're beings separate from ourselves, right? They're kind of like in between God and us. They're divine kind of versions of us. They were like the first round of us, and then a whole war happened according to biblical stories. But I want to present angels in a different way. You don't need to necessarily believe in angels from the Bible. In fact, angels themselves, the name simply means messenger, right? Messenger spirits. You don't actually have to believe in the Bible to work with angels, because angels are older than the Bible. We have many accounts of different types of helpful interceptory kind of beings that help mankind. They're usually called like helping spirits in animistic traditions, right? But the idea that there's some type of helpful, benevolent, half god, half human, demigod kind of being out there that helps humanity in times of crisis is not something new, and it's not something that even Abrahamic faiths can even claim as theirs, right? So working with angels, you can work with angels as the spirits if you think that there are spirits, but also if you're not quite there yet and you're just like, I can't wrap my brain around there being these beings out there that are just helpful beings that are here to protect us, right? And to give us warnings, omens, and signs. What you can believe is that through archetypes, an archetype is a symbol that represents a collective consciousness, a story, if you will, okay? So if you look at angels as nothing more than archetypes, right? Something, a belief that is perpetuated by the faith of a collective people. It doesn't make it angels any less real if you simply view them as archetypes rather than actual intelligent beings, right? Like, you don't even have to extend your belief so far as to think that they're real floating angels flying around, looking for people to help, that sort of thing. However, anybody could believe in the idea of the archetype of the angel that is perpetuated by a collective belief, right? And when archetypes are perpetually presented over storytelling for thousands of years, then it's like subconsciously in our DNA anyway. right? So there's always going to be some type of primal or instinctual kind of connection to that. But on top of that, when something is believed in so strongly, whether it's real or whether it is not real, it takes a life on of its own. In magic, we call that thought forms, right? Thought forms are pockets of energy that are maintained in our consciousness. We can't grab it, we can't feel it, it's not tangible, but we can maintain that in our what we call psychic vision, right? In our third eye, in our ability to visualize these symbols. And this symbol for an angel just happens to be what, guys? Pair of white wings, okay? Right? And that's what we mostly see angels as. That's what we identify angels as. So whether you truly believe that angels are real and they exist and that they're real beings with an intelligence and, you know, that sort of thing, or whether you believe that they are stories and pockets of energy that we can tap into and access, it doesn't matter, because the reality is that it's real whether we believe it or not, because it is suspended by an overwhelming belief, okay? And so it's not, doesn't become a matter of do you believe in angels or not, right? It becomes a matter of, do you want to access that energy? It's there whether you want to or not. Your rejection of it doesn't dissipate it, right? But do you want to interact with it? And that's what I really want to present to you guys today, and just kind of get you thinking about, you know, angels in that sort of way. So if you are at all resistant to working with angels, maybe you don't have to go through the standard traditional biblical way of thinking about angels. Maybe you can just think about it as tapping into a source of energy that is prevalent and suspended by belief, and that is accessible to everybody, anywhere, regardless of where you are, who you are, what you believe, what you don't believe, okay? And so I sent out an email this morning about how, look, you don't even have to believe in angels to work with angels. It's just there, right? And when you do start working with angels, it's as simple as just asking for help. And that's what I meant this morning when I sent out that email, or if you saw it somewhere else, is it's just simply about asking for help. And asking for help has absolutely nothing to do with angels. It has absolutely everything to do with you, your limiting beliefs, your abundance blocks, the way that you see yourself, your level of self-esteem, your level of self-confidence, right? It has absolutely nothing to do with the angelic energy, and everything to do with your inability to receive, okay? So what do you think about that? Different angels have different personalities. Some have their own agendas, and not all are gentle in how they work. Isn't that the truth? That is very true. Hi, Emmy. Good to see you. Yes, I'm so glad you said that. Angels in my practice are so different. Yep, same. Oh, thank you, Teresa. Okay, there's a lot of comments and we don't have too much time left, so I don't want to like read every single one, but yes, absolutely. There's some great comments in here. Grace says, I believe in science, physics. That alone lets me know there are higher dimensions. Absolutely. The quantum string theory, that's like, duh, you know, like we're finding this out now, and what we're finding out is that, you know, science, there is science to explain a lot of mysticism. Absolutely. So there are good angels and bad angels. I'm not really sure that that's true. Bad angels would be like demons, right? That if you go through a biblical way. If you go through a biblical way of thinking about it. Some tough angel love there. Thank you. If angels don't want to help, then turn to demons. And that's a conversation for another video, but yes. Actually, I just did, I haven't gotten it up on YouTube, but I just did a workshop about the left and the right hand sides of powwow. And actually, in the left-hand side of powwow, which is biblical-based magic, it says that demons are subjected to human will. So, you know, that's something. But not a lot of people are ready for that conversation yet, so we'll save that for another day. Okay, So I have a spread here that I'm going to give you guys. Let me set some things up really quickly. And it's okay if you can't see it, because we're just going to read through it, all right? And everybody's going to get a copy of this spread. And so again, if you if you read cards or if you don't read cards, you can use spreads in whichever way you like, all right? So this spread is called Connecting with, let me get my copy up here so I don't have to strain my eyeballs. It's called Connecting with High Vibrational Beings, a tarot and oracle spread to help you connect with the Council of Light, highly evolved beings who oversee the ascension process on Earth. Okay. And in the middle we have, I put this little snow fairy. Isn't that so cute? I just adore it. But the first position is going to be the entity that we're speaking with. So you can use this spread with any, if you want to contact angels, if you want to contact fairies, if you want to contact ancestors, if you want to contact people that have passed over, if you want to contact anybody, you can use this spread for anybody. If you want to contact any type of being whatsoever, this is like your Swiss Army knife spread. Okay, you can use it for everything. The second card position is the life lesson that you are helping me with. The third card position is the gift that you are trying to give me. Thanks, Christina. Absolutely, Emmy, absolutely. 4 is how am I blocking receiving this gift? 5, what do I need to do to unblock myself? 6, action I need to take within 30 days. 7, what will be our psychic symbol? And I'm going to go through all of these in more depth, okay? And 8, finally, is a message of wisdom for the future. Like, what's the message? Like, what do you want to leave me off with? That sort of thing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and shuffle these. In fact, I'm going to do it over here. Save my hands. I used to use these on the psychic hotlines exclusively. I used to rip my hands up using these until I found the apps. they have this deck on it, and okay, let me backtrack. They used to have this deck as an app. I'm not sure if they have re-released it under Bradley's name as an app yet or not. But it's a really positive deck. If you're like, why did you use this deck? Well, because it's a tarot deck. It's more like a tarot oracle, but it is basically, a standard tarot deck. But some of the cards like Death or the Devil, they have been kind of renamed. So it's marketed as a deck that's like non-scary, so that if you just want to connect with really good positive energies, there's a time and place for that. I don't recommend doing that all the time, because we don't want to spiritually bypass ourselves. But sometimes you just need like a cosmic hug from the universe. There's decks that are like, whack you upside the head with a 2x4, and then there's decks that'll just kind of be like, hey girl, maybe you should kind of focus on this for a little while, So there is a time and place for all sorts of decks. And today we're going to use a really positive one because honestly, I think that we really, really need it. All right. If this is personal or planetary extension, for today, this is going to be for all of us. This is going to be like a general message for all of us. If you want to use it for yourself, it will just be for yourself, or you can do your own collective. So it's your intention, whatever you would like. No, great question. So Liti says, do you select a significator for position 1? Okay, so how you use this spread is that you can use a significator, or you can use a deck that is designed for that particular being. For example, if I wanted to connect with fairies, I might go ahead and use a fairy oracle card deck to do this. If I want to talk to angels and I just want to see what angel comes up, then go ahead and use an angel deck. So whatever vibrational being, there's like dragon decks, there's fairy decks, there's unicorn decks, there's Pegasus decks, there's mermaid decks, okay? These are all high vibrational beings. So you could choose it by the deck, or you could do what they were saying was that you could actually go through your deck, or you can mentally, right, if you're not using any tools, mentally say, I want to connect with this particular angel, or I want to connect with my helping spirit, or I want to connect with this type of animal spirit guide, right? So whoever you want to connect with, you can do it by the deck or you can do it by the significator card. Totally up to you. Okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and pull off the top. So the very first position is the entity that I am speaking with. So we're going to be speaking with, this is 7, the Chariot, Archangel Metatron. And it says, an important achievement, self-discipline and willpower, public recognition. Okay, so we're going to put the tarot meaning aside for just a moment, and we're really just going to go off of Archangel Metatron here. What do you guys know about Archangel Metatron? Have you guys worked with Archangel Metatron? He seems to be the angel that wants to come in and give us a message here. So Metatron actually came up yesterday. I think Reno talked about Metatron a little bit. Metatron is a really, really interesting angel because he's one of two. So there's Sandalphon and then there's also Metatron. And those two are the two angels that were once humans. They're kind of like an extended master type of angel, right? So Metatron's really interesting is that he was the prophet Enoch. So if you ever read the book of Enoch, with the Enochian angel magic, right? Or learning about like, really with the book of Enoch, it's an apocalyptic kind of book that's not in the Bible, but it talks about like the war between angels, and it talks about the Nephilim, like the early interactions with angels and humans, different things that angels taught us. For example, in the book of Enoch, it says that angels taught us how to adorn ourselves, how to metalsmith. They allegedly taught us how to make like swords and weapons, but also jewelry. They also taught us how to beautify ourselves with makeup, personal hygiene, that sort of thing. Right, he was human. Yes, absolutely. He's very powerful and understanding. Right hand of God, time bender, remover, obstacles. Yeah, absolutely. So Archangel Metatron is known as an angel of presence, right? So what is presence? Presence is now. It is it's a point in time and space. And he's a scribing angel. So Metatron is, if you have ever looked into Kabbalah, Kabbalah is that tree of life where you have the 10 circles, right? And then you have the circle in the second center and the circle in the bottom. That tree of life image that we so often see everywhere, that we may not know what it is. But that is a symbol based off of Jewish myths, a branch of Jewish mysticism, okay? And it's called the Kabbalah. And on the Kabbalah are the emanations of source, of God, right? The different emanations of the being that we have no concept. It's not even called God in the Jewish tradition. It's the unknowable, right? We don't know. There's like a veil there we cannot pierce. It's unknowable, right? And so in the entry point, and if you have ever seen a Merkaba, which is basically the Star of David with the upside down triangles mishmashed, that's called a Merkaba. And so when we're looking at the Kabbalah, there's a central point, Tifereth, I believe it's Tifereth, that is a central point, and that's linked up with our heart chakra. And so if you are at all interested in chakra healing or any Kabbalah or anything like that, you've probably heard of the Merkaba as a vehicle, right? A vehicle uniting. What we often see in pictures is with the Merkaba is a person kind of in the fetal position with a bubble around them, and they're kind of shooting through space, okay? That's the imagery, the symbolism that it kind of evokes. And what it kind of represents is a merging, the upper triangles and the lower triangles, the higher realms and the lower realms merging, and we do that through the heart chakra, right? It's the seat of our consciousness, that vehicle in which we can interact between the upper worlds and the lower worlds. And because he's a scribing angel, he's the angel of presence, so basically his task is to every single thing that happens, he's in there writing about it. So it's kind of his job to write and keep a ledger of everything that has ever happened and everything that will ever happen. And because of this, he is also associated with the Akashic Records. The Akashic Records is kind of like the Western version of Kabbalah in a way. It's a very oversimplified, removed in context, but still similar idea, the Akashic Records, that there is like this, whether physical or metaphysical, this library somewhere of information that contains books of our lives, the book of our lives, right? And so many of you probably actually work with the Akashic Records or have at least heard of it. It was very popular at the turn of this last century, especially when psychology and metaphysics were kind of like breaking apart, right? Because before then it was all in one. But then we have psychology and metaphysics kind of, breaking apart into their respective branches. I can't remember, what's the name of that dude? What's the name of that guy that did has basically thought up the Akashic Records? I can't remember what his name is. Edgar? Is it Edgar something? Edgar Case? Something like that. But anyways, he's a really cool person to look into if you're interested in the Akashic Records. And he was, I believe that he looked at it, it was more like he projected his Christian Catholic upbringing, kind of. Edgar Case, thank you, Andy, Edgar Case. And so because of that, Archangel Metatron is also associated with the Akashic Records. So, and also time. Bending time is a really fun way to work with Archangel Metatron. If I'm running late for something and I'm like, I need a little bit of extra time, I'll say, Archangel Metatron, I just need a couple extra minutes, thank you. And I'm always rushing to get there, and I know that I'm going to be late, and then I always end up early. It's like you can start bending time. It's really, really cool and really trippy once you learn how to be a time bender. But Archangel Metatron is a gateway. If you're interested in learning how to do that, he can kind of help you figure that out and act as kind of like a guide on how to do something like that. Oh, thank you. I would love for you to do a short course describing the major angels all the way you did. Back when I was trying to be a clone of Doreen Virtue and really talking about angels, I did have a course on angels. It was really primitive, and that was back in like 2014. But yes, so I did teach about angels briefly, and Akashic Records and all. I've taught about all that stuff before, but my journey with angels has changed so much since then. I think that, everything happens in its own divine timing. I truly, truly believe that. There is a right time for everything. There are some things that there's never a right time for, and you just kind of have to do. But I do think that part of our journey is also waiting for that right time. So maybe that could be something in the future. But I'll definitely consider it. Thank you. So, yeah, so Archangel Metatron, and he's kind of known as like the gateway angel to the Kabbalah. Like he's at the gates, right? Where we also think of like Jeremiah as like the angel that does like the life review, weighs your heart, right? With the old Egyptian kind of style, the Coptic Christian Egyptian kind of tradition where you weigh the hearts, were you good, or weigh your heart against a feather. But Metatron, basically Metatron hands you the book to hand to Jeremiah to weigh your heart. That's kind of how it works. So Metatron is pretty freaking cool. If you are into the yoga scene at all, you're going to probably be introduced to Metatron pretty early. He's definitely talked about a lot over there. So do you use cards from all the same angel deck for all 8 positions, or do you use several decks to fill out the positions in the spread? You could do either way. Just to keep things simple, I'm going to be using the same deck, but either way, you could do whatever you like. And in fact, if you have a deck that you think would answer the question better than the deck that you're using, feel free. If you want to use 8 different decks, you can absolutely do that. I've done that before too, and it's really, really neat to do that. Oh, Diana Cooper is also, yeah, she's pretty cool too. Not my area, but I am aware of Kabbalah and Jewish mysticism, just so I know where people are coming from, right? And that's the whole lifetime. I mean, do you have Jewish mystic scholars that have been studying Kabbalah for their whole lifetime, and still there's so much more to learn. Kabbalah is such a vast, vast topic. All right, moving on. So we're talking to Archangel Metatron, all right? Life lesson that you are helping me with. Ooh, the star and Archangel Jophiel. So for this, we can ignore the Archangel Jophiel, or we can be like, hey, Jophiel, what's up? Maybe she is coming in too. Jophiel, I'm not going to go too much into her because that's not the way I intend to really use it, but she's associated with the star in this deck. And it says, happy times, make positive, optimistic, long-term plans on the right path. So this is when my tarot brain would start kicking in. And if you are doing these with no tools, then, when you're doing this, just simply close your eyes and ask for that message to be given to you in whatever way that you do, however you receive psychic messages. So the star is a major arcana card. And when I think of the star, I often think of our healing journey, right? The path to our own healing. Because the star is such a gentle, optimistic, bright kind of light, and it's like, what light are you following in your life? It's sort of like the hermit in a way, where the hermit's holding the lantern, right? The star is the light in the lantern, right? It's the emanation of your divinity. So when you're working with the star, it's like, how are you making the world a better place? It's your role in being a light worker, someone who transforms, alchemizes their own personal darkness, our own personal darkness, our bad habits, our addictions, our limiting beliefs, our negativity that's inside ourselves. How do we transform that and alchemize it into light, into something helpful and positive and useful, something that's going to benefit society, that's going to benefit ourselves in the long run, right? So that's what the star is for me. It's our role in being the light worker. And first, the very first step it takes is being on our own personal healing journey. So this card in this position, the life lesson that Metatron is helping us with, is our own personal healing journey and strengthening us to be that light worker, the role model that the world needs of us right now to help humanity, especially, heal. And because what do we do? What are people that are addicted to their own healing journey do? They start helping others with it. And it's this ripple effect. You toss a pebble and it ripples out over space and time. And that's what the star is. First, we start with ourselves. And then once we gain some confidence in ourselves that, okay, we've dealt with this negative stuff and we're still working through some of it. It'll never go away completely, right? Your healing journey is your lifelong journey. It's with you forever. There's always more layers to it. But also, what do we need to know right now regarding it? And what do we need to know as a collective? How are we as this collective of light workers, what do we need to know right now? And so the message on the card is, make positive, optimistic, long-term plans on the right path. I know that a lot of us have been kind of bamboozled by this year, and I know a lot of us have been scared to commit to things because we're like, we don't know if that's going to be around, or we don't know if people are going to be interested, because there's a lot of lower vibrational distraction going on right now, and for a very good reason. I'm not discounting it, but there's a lot of things that we could honestly choose to allow ourselves to be distracted by. Let's be honest. There's a lot of things, a lot of negative kind of doomsday kind of, thoughts that we could internalize and project out. And so I think this year we've been really resistant and hesitant to commit to anything, because it feels like this world is like in a state of flux right now. Like the world is shaking beneath us and we don't know where we're going to end up. We don't know where we're going to land. We don't know if this is still going to be there by that time. And what this card is saying is that each and every single one of us has a higher purpose, and we can, be safe. We do live in the physical reality. We do live here on earth. We do have to interact with this. Be safe, but don't allow it to overwhelm or absorb all of your positive energy. And don't be afraid to make long-term plans. That's what the card says. Make some long-term plans. Start committing to things. We need to start getting our lives back on track. We cannot control what happens outside of us, but we can certainly control our response to it always, right? Most of the time. And then when we can't, we still can, but maybe it takes a little bit of extra time to kind of work through something. So if you have been scared to commit to anything, or you've been scared to set a date to start your course, or set a date to start getting back into reading professionally, or start a date to whatever you want to do, set that date. You know, even if it doesn't happen, that's fine. But if we're moving forward through this timeline that we are in right now, it means that we have to commit to it fully, the good and the bad. All right. So number 3, the gift that you were trying to give me. Ooh, the Page of Earth. And on here we have this beautiful little fairy girl. So pretty. Scholarly, dependable, patient, and successful. Okay. And on the card it says, good news about financial matters, wanting to do something more challenging, a new area of study. So the gift that that Metatron is trying to give us right now is trying to help us get our life back in order, because Earth is not just money. Yeah, sure, it's money, but it's everything else money can buy as well, like your health, your time, your resources. Okay, so we think about Earth as also abundance, an abundance of things and material things and things that we need as well, right? So Archangel Metatron especially, and my opinion with this, is that it's coming through and saying you have the time, right? Because time is one of the gifts of Archangel Metatron, the ability to bend time, to speed up time, to slow time down. And the gift that he's trying to give us is that if we need extra time, we can have it. But if we're ready, then we can go ahead and start now. So it's kind of like we're all on the same timeline anyway. Time's just going to go slower or faster for certain people, depending on what's actually going on in your life. And so if you've been severely affected by this year, it may take you a little bit longer to kind of feel stable again, right? And that's just the reality of it. Everybody has to deal with the reality of it. But I really love the Page of Earth as the gift, because what basically Archangel Metatron is saying is that I'm going to gift you the ability to be confident in yourself again, to be confident in your ability to keep your commitments, to be confident in your ability to do the things that you still wanted to do and that still maybe didn't like come to pass this year, that there's still time to do it. Okay, what do you guys think about the Page of Earth? How does this kind of come up for you? I'd love to hear back. This should be a collective process. So if you are getting any intuitive hits on what it means for you, feel free. Please put it in the comments. We'd love to hear. Jessica says, we're builders. Waiting isn't purposeful from my point of view. Only the present is written. Right. Absolutely. And it says on here, good news about financial matters. So, I mean, maybe we can take that literally. Maybe our finances really are going to start getting better, or that we're going to have more opportunity to create that financial security that we really, really need. Oh, absolutely. Aren't pages related to learning and apprenticing? Yeah, because it says wanting to do something more challenging, a new area of study. So if you've been wanting to, like, for example, if you've been wanting to shift your niche a little bit, or if you've been wanting to go back to school or learn a new skill or learn a new trade, we're in this kind of time bubble vortex right now where we don't know when things are going to start going at the speed that we're used to going. So we're kind of in this like between liminal space kind of point right now. So if you wanted to learn a new skill, or if you wanted to go back to school, like, now is absolutely the time, because yeah, absolutely learning about things. Teresa says the world is our oyster, so to speak. Yes, we have a huge opportunity right now. Renee says Page of Earth feels like learning about and planting new seeds of abundance. Absolutely. Yeah. Katie says I associate the page with learning new things. Eileen says all of this resonates. Been thinking and planning for a long term, which includes getting my tarot business up and running. Well, there you go. Okay. So it's going to mean something a little bit different to everybody, but absolutely. I really think that Metatron is gifting us this ability for ourselves to see if there's anything new that we want to try, because honestly, now's the time. We have this little bubble and vortex of time where time is moving very slowly for a lot of people, collectively moving very slowly. And so why not take advantage of it? A 4-year Twilight Zone episode, right? You are not wrong, Robert. Okay. Number 4, how am I blocking this gift? The 4 of water, 4 of cups. Missing an opportunity, discontentment, or boredom. Open your eyes to the possibilities. Okay. I mean, that couldn't be more clear, could it? Honestly, that could not be more clear. The 4 of water. The 4 of water is traditionally that guy that's sitting there with all these cups, these 3 cups in front of him, and this hand of God is reaching down and giving him this cup, like, and he's just sitting there like, no, no thanks. And what it's saying, in my opinion, what it's saying to us is that, we have a lot on our plates. Everybody has already got a lot that's kind of going on. And actually, we're at a really interesting time in the year because we're in the dark half of the year, right? We're in that releasing part of the year. If you follow the seasonal wheel of the year and the energies around that it's, there's a lot that we have going on, but maybe we all have too much going on, or we're still holding on to things that we don't really need or want, and we can't bring anything else new in until we release some of the things that maybe aren't exactly making us all that happy, or maybe aren't serving us in the highest possible way. So one of the quickest ways to bust through that 4 of Cups energy is to look and see what needs to go. Because if you have a full plate and you're like, because what's the limiting belief we all go to? I don't have time. I don't have energy. I don't have I have too much going on. It's too much. I need to close down. I can't accept anything more right now. And that's me for sure. Like that's like my life right now. Like I barely have time to do any creative things that I want to because I'm managing summits and I'm doing one-on-one clients and, doing other projects. And like there comes a point where you get so busy in your life that you don't really have a lot of time for your own creative energy. And so maybe there's some things that are kind of weighing us down that we can maybe unshackle ourselves from, so that we can be a little lighter, be a little freer, run a little faster, and actually be able to take on some new opportunities head on, and even recognize that they're available. Because when you have so much going on already, you're like, I don't, I can't even, you have these blinders on. You can't even see what else is out there that you could possibly be doing to help you further along and a lot faster than you would necessarily by yourself. So the angels take all forms, not just angels and the beings, but angels as people as well. Like, some of my students that I work with, and, them coming up with their own programs and doing affiliate deals with them, and then, collabing with other people and stuff like that. Like, there's a whole world of opportunities out there. Just, we can't always see it because we're so weighed down by everything that we already have, right? Yeah, ignoring one's psychic gifts. Absolutely. That could be one too. Emotional release, except for the bedazzling. Don't come for my bedazzling. I'm that's what I've been doing, by the way, lately. That's how I've been coping with the C word, is that I can't say it because they'll demonetize me. But that's how I've been coping, is I've been bedazzling everything. Release what no longer serves, Catherine. Absolutely. Okay. Jessica says the 4 is stability built on the turbulence of water or emotion. It's necessary to focus on the coming back to the flow of a balance and surrender to the moment rather than the mind. Interesting. Interesting. Yes. Okay, so number 4 was the 4 of Cups. Like, how am I blocking this gift? Number 5 is, what do I need to do to unblock myself? And we have another 4. We have the 4 of Pentacles, or the 4 of Earth. And we see this little fairy girl, and she's looking at this jewel, right? And there's this other little fairy. And it says, being too frivolous or too cautious with money, making good business decisions, giving to those less fortunate. That's a loaded one, isn't it? So what do I need to do to unblock myself? We're holding on too tightly to our time and to our energy. We're holding on too tightly to our limiting beliefs of what we have allowed ourselves to have. Okay, let me explain that in a more practical way. For example, I get really defensive about my time because I already book myself, you know, to the maximum capacity. And then, you know, I'll have people come in and be like, oh, I need a session right now. And then my immediate thought is like, do I have the time though? Sometimes I can be very selfish about my time. And that's a good thing. That's something that I didn't really ever have an opportunity to do when I was growing up and working outside the, you know, working in corporate world. But ever since I started my own business, I've really been selfish about my time. And honestly, I think that people should be selfish to some extent. So selfish is just self first, right? Selfish is good. But where is our selfishness hindering our success, right? The hoarder, right? It's the holidays. Give to those who need. And you know, I think it's interesting because the first, you guys, the first training that we did, remember it was the Yule magic. One of the things I said in that workshop is really interesting. I said one of the ways to get through the feelings of lack is to get into the vibration of abundance. And the quickest way to get into the vibration of abundance is to give, right? Is to give, because at that point you expand your energy. Don't give what you don't have to give, but give what you do have to give, right? So that's one of the quickest ways to actually get into the vibration of abundance is if you need to hack to get into it and you're feeling really lousy, give something away. So I think that what this card is saying is that maybe perhaps we're holding on too tightly to our own beliefs about what limits us, and that maybe we could, instead of doing the same old things that we always do that give us the same old predictable results, is try something new. Try something new out of your comfort zone. Try something, you know, book a client that maybe you wouldn't book normally. Or, you know, maybe put together a new type of reading offer. Or take that collab that you've been kind of feeling skittish about and you're like, I'm not sure if I should do this because I think I think that they might be better than me, or maybe they're not as good as me. You know, we kind of go both ways with that. And or maybe I'm not sure how I feel about this person or something like that. Now, if you have red flags that are coming up, you know, obviously follow those. But sometimes red flags are not always red flags. Sometimes they are actually our ego just trying to protect us. So where are we trying to protect ourselves? Where are we trying to protect ourselves too much, being overly protective? And where could we honestly just loosen up a little bit, you know? Since it was the upright, isn't the card encouraging holding on to money time? It kind of depends on how you read cards. But, okay, ask yourself what the question is. What do I need to do to unblock myself? So if your if your issue was that maybe you're overgiving, certainly it could mean that you are, certainly it could mean that you are, if you're overgiving, it could mean that you need to hold on to yourself, right? But the question is, what do I need to do to unblock myself, right? So like it depends on how you want to do, okay? It depends on how you want to take this. But for me personally, I'm going to go with, we need to open up a little bit. Does that make sense? Erica says, make that money circulate, right? So, but if you get the message personally that you need to hold on to your time and energy, then your intuition should always override my intuition, okay? Your symbols and the energy, the symbolism that's coming to you and the meaning behind that should always override the person reading the card. So if it's telling you that, go with that. Number 6, action I need to take within 30 days. 8 of Earth. Skilled work is rewarded, learning all there is to know about a topic, going back to school. So that's like the second card that's been telling us to learn something new, isn't it? So the 8 of Earth is like getting back to work, right? The 8 of Earth is a very, very focused card. It's a focused card on, I'm really focused on the quality of what I'm doing rather than the quantity of what I'm doing. So perhaps instead of having all of these irons in the fire and all these different projects going on, maybe we do what, you know, what Lith was saying earlier about maybe it's telling us to hold on to things too. So this could be the flip energy of that. So if we are focusing on quality over quantity and we're being very focused on our craft or our trade, then maybe what that card is also saying is that maybe we need to consolidate things. Remember, like what we said with the Four of Cups, like there's too much things in front of us that we can't see the opportunities. So what are some things that we do let go, but what are some things that we hold on to? And what are the things that we hold on to that we decide to invest more? Because when I think of Eight of Earth, or Pentacles, I think of investment, right? Investing your time and energy to becoming that skilled master. So perhaps this card is saying the things that you do hold on so tightly to, maybe it's time to go to that next level with them. Maybe it's time to, like if you're a Reiki, second level Reiki person, maybe it's time to get your teaching degree, right? Or maybe if you specialize in one area as a spiritual life coach, maybe it's time to go to that next level, right? So when I think of the Eight of Earth, in this instance of what is the action that I need to take within 30 days, what that's saying is I need to really buckle down, and I really need to put my energy and my time into what really matters, and to craft something amazing out of it. Something that's going to be probably better than what I originally thought. And it's also a really optimistic card. So if you pull the Eight of Earth and you're asking about something like a project or something like that, and you get the Eight of Earth, it says really that it's going to come out even better than what you think, really. And then the Eight of Earth also is about going from that level of being kind of like entry level, like, yeah, I can do this, but then going to that next level of being more of an expert, being more of a master at it, right? So whatever it is, if you want to learn how to read tarot cards, maybe you're ready to go to that advanced level training. Or if you're a psychic medium, maybe it's time to start branching out and start offering different types of mediumship readings with different types of vibrational beings. Or I know plenty of mediums that do mediumship readings but don't talk to people that have passed on. Maybe it's time to go in that direction too and open that up. So what it's really saying is that there's a point now where we could actually use this as an awesome distraction and funnel our energy into it and actually create something amazing that would actually be really helpful for not just us but everybody else too. Number 7, what will be our psychic symbol? Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, the wheel. Also Archangel Michael. It says, a time of positive change. A situation suddenly moves forward. Fortune is on your side. So the wheel is like, things are going to be drastically changing here pretty soon. And they're going to be changing for the better. There's going to be a shift. If you've been down, you're going to start going up, right? There's like a seasonal kind of effect to that card where you have to align with the seasons, and not just, I'm not talking about like, summer, winter, fall, but there's seasons within your own energetic body as well, right? And so what this is saying is that you're going to be entering, all of us are going to be entering a new season. And typically speaking, the wheel is a very positive type of card. It signifies that whatever is going to be changing is going to be changing for the better. And so the psychic symbol, what does that really mean? So let's say you're out and about and you're in your own life. What's the simple purpose of the symbol? You must be reading my mind. So let's say it's a week from now and you remember this training and you're out and about and you're living your normal life, and all of a sudden you're walking maybe down the street and you've got your little mask on and you're maybe doing some window shopping or something, and you look up and maybe there's this symbol of a wheel and you're like, okay, Archangel Metatron is with me. Or it psychically and psychologically implants, it anchors this energy that we're talking about today, whether you know it consciously or subconsciously. When you program yourself with symbols, first and foremost, it's a way to access that energy when you least expect it, right? And that's what psychics are. We're symbol seekers, aren't we? We think in symbols, we interpret symbols, we speak in symbols. Symbols are our thing. So when you're a psychic and you're looking out and you're interacting in your real world and you see 1111 or 44, or you see like strings of numbers, or you see other psychic symbols might be like a cardinal bird is like someone on the other side's giving you a message, or you pick a penny up and you have angels, or you see a white feather and it's an angel. Okay, these are all symbols, real life symbols, yes? So when you're out and about in your real life and you're just going about your business and you see a wheel, It means that Archangel Metatron is there, is with you, is trying to remind you of everything that we talked about in this reading today, okay? So it's a way to access a whole lot of information and know it subconsciously without having to try to like rationalize it. Does that make sense? I like this. Yes, a reminder sign anchor. Yep, psychic symbol seekers. So our symbol collectively is the wheel with spokes in it. Symbols point to a higher purpose. Yes, absolutely. Hey, Ibu, good to see you. Okay, last but not least, 8. Message of wisdom for the future. The 8 of fire. Events moving at a fast pace. Delays are over. Many things happening at once. 8 of fire is my hold on to your butts card. That's my card where it's like, okay, everything's going to start happening. The delays, obstacles are going to be lifted. Now the floodgates are open, right? That's what the 8 of earth means for me. Lots of things going on. There's going to be a time of excitement, a time of passion, a time of creativity. And it's like a wave that you can like, you know, are you going to surf the wave or are you just going to let the wave crash over you? So that's kind of what this card is saying. Join the wave, get on the wave, go with the wave, get into the good feelings, especially around Christmas. Get into the good feelings of Christmas, get into the holiday spirit, and believe that things are going to get better, that delays and obstacles are going to be removed, and that things are going to start moving very, very, very quickly. News is on the way. Yes, so if you've been waiting for something, 8 of Earth can also absolutely be that something you've been waiting for is going to be happening. I know what that means for me. My car has been in the shop for 3 months. They told me it was going to be a 10-day job. It's a 3-month, turned into a 3-month thing. I'm picking it up today. That's a whole drama. It's a whole drama thing. But finally, I'm getting my car today. So that's like how it's relating to me today, is that, you know, things that I've been waiting on and waiting on and waiting on and waiting on and wondering when this is going to happen, things are going to start happening. So, my friends, this is how you connect with high vibrational beings with tarot and oracle cards, or any type of oracle, or using your own psychic abilities and intuitive powers. I would love to know what you got out of today. What has been your favorite part of today? Have I inspired you to look at angels, high vibrational beings, tarot spreads in a different way? Have you guys learned something pretty cool? Now, I would love for you guys to actually use this spread on your own. If you're looking for something interesting to do for 2021, if you don't have a tarot spread already, do one of these. Okay, see what it says for yourself. So this was a group message. So now that you've got the group collective, what does it actually mean for you? And I would love for you to do that. And if you want to post it in a group, we'd love to hear what you have to say, or you could post it on as a comment here. But yeah, so I will gift you this spread. Also, I want to give you guys another gift. I have a workshop that I already filmed. Oh, when was this? I think it was, did I film it this year? I might have filmed it this year or last year. But if you want to start learning how to read more intuitively, I'm going to grab that link. Give me just a second, you guys. I have a whole workshop on how to read tarot and oracle cards intuitively based on different things, like the ways that the people are facing, the different colors that are in the card, you know, lots and lots of things. You know what, it's my internet is not working right now, so I'll just put it in the comments after. But yeah, so I have that for you guys, as well as the spread. And yeah, so just let me know. Katie says, I love the tarot spread. Aline says, absolutely never thought about working with the angel and our ancestors this way. Teresa says, that was great. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you. And tell you what, I have one more thing that I want to say. I'll probably come in next week and talk to you guys a little bit more about this. But if you are someone who has been wanting to get in doing summits like this, if you are someone that is a teacher, if you're a spiritual coach or advisor, psychic of any kind, and you want to learn how to participate and teach your own skills and gifts and build your own community of amazing people, then I want you to message me, because I have a course. It's called Market Yourself as a Tarot Life Coach course. And it's a 6-month program. It's my signature program. And what I do is I help you learn about who you are as a coach, who you are as a psychic advisor. And at the end of the program, you get to be invited to actually come in and do these summits with me. So if you want to get in with an amazing group of people and you need some help marketing your tarot or spiritual life coaching services, let me know. I'm your gal. I'll be very happy to welcome you into the program to get you started on your journey to making a lot of money and helping a lot of people with your psychic abilities and intuitive gifts. So thank you so much for joining us for the 12 Days of Christmas Summit. Replays will be up until December 31st. This will not be the last time you hear from me, but I'm going to give everybody the weekend to get through replays and things like that and kind of go back and make sure you grab all your gifts, guys, because there are plenty of gifts that have been going around. Make sure you go to every single workshop, grab your gifts. There's meditations, there's workbooks, there's ebooks, there's so much stuff that people are giving away. It's just a whole bunch of amazing content that you can have that will help you navigate the holiday season in a high vibe way. So thank you for joining us for this year 2020. We honestly did amazing. This has been the best year yet, and we will be seeing you very, very soon. I hope you guys have an amazing Friday. I hope you have an amazing weekend, and I'll see you in the group next week. Bye.